Welcome back to another episode of Steaming Pie with Lauren and Tucker. I am Lauren.
And I'm Tucker.
And Tucker, do you like yourself?
No.
No. You were so ready with that.
Good days, bad days. Why?
It was something I was thinking about because I've been going through like the classic, over the 25 phase of self-loathing, because I think everyone goes through self-loathing. And the difference between going through self-loathing as a teenager when you hate yourself is because I don't think you have an accurate picture of yourself. What makes the post-25 self-loathing terrible is you have an accurate picture of yourself and you have the self-awareness to understand that sometimes it's your fault.
Well, yep, that's okay. That's all right. All right, we're coming hard. All right, so that is, oh boy. Okay. Yeah, I guess we do have the wherewithal to understand the things that we've done to bring us to this point, and also the wisdom and knowledge, as much wisdom and knowledge as a 20-something can have, that it's possibly too late to reverse things, and you might just be this sack of shit forever. That might just be, the life you live.
Yeah, because we saw Taylor Tomlinson on her tour, and she has a bit where she talks about being in your mid-20s, and that's the last opportunity you have to scoop things out of the lake before it freezes over.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And I'm beginning to understand what she meant by that. I'm like, oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's oh, wow. I haven't thought about that. Okay, so so what would you want to scoop out of the lake before it freezes, and is there a way that you can stop it from freezing?
Ooh. I do think you can stop it from freezing. I'll start with that point because I'm not ready to scoop stuff out. But I do think you can. It just depends on the self-awareness thing. I think because we've experienced prolonged adolescence that people always complain about, I think that's what makes it easier to change yourself after 30. And I think life gives you extra chances on the nines. The nines are always where you're staring down a new decade and you're like, what's the next decade? And I think the nines are where that happens. But yeah, in terms of scooping things out, there are a handful of things. I am an immensely petty person, and I can be especially just passive aggressive, and I hate that I have gotten better at being that. And it gets worse about certain things. There are people online who are successful, and I hate them. I don't want to hate them, but I do. Mm-hmm. And yeah. I have my brain has slapped down when other people have complained about things, and I'm like, that doesn't matter. They have X. And I'm like, yeah, but they're still allowed to have that problem. And the bad part of me is nah, your stuff is worse, and how dare they talk about it? And I'm like, but it's still bad. And I dislike that about myself. That's coming out of the lake as soon as possible. Mm-hmm. But in terms of how, I don't know how.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's cognitive behavior, cognitive behavioral therapy, where you just write down every bad thought you have and just say, here's why that's wrong. Mm-hmm. Or what, but it's...
Yeah, no, that's a good point. It's easy to introspect. It's probably harder to act upon what you can, introspect about yourself. Mm-hmm. I think what you just described is just, in a nutshell, jealousy, and I also have a problem with that.
Oh yeah,
and I also don't know how to fix it. I've certainly gotten better, but it's certainly not gotten to the point. And I have accepted. I'm 26 now, so probably eons ago that I will never be when you say a good person, the definition for that varies so ridiculously wildly that it's hard to actually pin down what you mean. When I think when most people say the phrase good person in the context of a comparison, they just mean someone gooder than they are.
Yes.
And so I think in this case, and maybe the phrase "I will never be a jealousless person, an envieless person."
Yeah.
I don't think, and honestly, probably, hashtag we live in a society that's probably good. I think you don't want a
Yeah.
dangerous, disgusting, lustful amount of jealousy, but the only way you will actually, and this might be a toxic mindset, I don't know yet, but the only way that you can like advance in pretty much any category or endeavor is you need just a smidge of jealousy, and that
Yes.
just enough to motivate you, not enough to cripple you and turn you into Gollum or whatever, right? So
Yeah.
right, so and but that is, but unfortunately you can't count jealousy. You can't. It's not numbered, so you can't say I need 2 tablespoons of jealousy and I'm good, right? And sometimes it's So luckily, it doesn't sound like scooping things out of lakes is a very clean procedure, and you're not going to get all of it. Which
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And like some things I'm glad I just didn't put in the lake to begin with, like needles. I didn't put hypodermic needles and
Hey.
used needles in my lake. So,
Good job. Good job. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be a. Well, I mean, that one I feel like. So that's actually an interesting question then. Okay, so we can let's continuing the metaphor. You can take things out of the lake after it's frozen. It's just much harder.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say that reducing how jealous you are, or I mean, you can replace that with I don't know any of the deadly sins, but if jealousy is a good one, can you? Is it easier to reduce the amount of jealousy you are after the lake is frozen, or is it easier to defeat an addiction like drugs or something like that? Which one's easier? And let's make it one of the spicy ones. Let's say you are addicted to cocaine, all right, or really any opiate. There is actually, I mean, there are places that you can go for this addiction, and they'll help you, and they're good at it. It's a science. I don't know. Which one do you think is harder?
I think the fact that cocaine addiction has a place you can go where it's like I am struggling with this substance and you can stop taking that substance and you can but like in the strictest sense, you can remove said substance from your life. You can stop hanging out with the people who have it. And that it's not that those aren't hard. But I think being able to say, hey, I can't hang out with you guys anymore. You give me cocaine. You make it easy for me to take cocaine, is a little easier than I can't hang out with you anymore. The way I think when I'm around you is bad.
So is the line of demarcation then something physical?
Potentially. I'm saying this as someone who has not had an addiction to like a drug, but who has struggled with like physically oriented mental disorders, we'll say, where the mindset I am in when I look at myself, like I know it's bad when I look at myself too long and I start crying. Like that's a different kind of drug at the same time, because that becomes like a part of the identity wrapped up in it, that kind of loathing and like hatred of the self and projecting that hatred onto other people. It's insidious in different ways, and I think untangling where that mindset begins and trying to extract it and think differently, I don't know, I would have to get on cocaine and then need to get off cocaine, I think, to fully appreciate what the differences are. But at the same time, there's a huge, like, if you stop hanging out with people who make you think poorly, either of yourself or other people, that could potentially be easier because there's not necessarily a physical withdrawal that could kill you. Some drugs, if you come up off of them, alcohol especially, depending on how bad it is, can kill you,
Mm-hmm.
which makes it a lot harder. And hmm. No,
Yeah.
I still think I'll go with mindset because mindset can contribute to drug addiction.
Okay. Yeah. That. Man, that's a fair point. Yeah, I think just the fact that you can physically relocate yourself from a problem makes it easier to solve. Wherein, just the capacity to be jealous or really any negative mindset uh, follows you because it is you.
Yeah.
And it also, and this is and this is something that is, I guess, tricky in terms of like changing oneself. Is so at some point, and I don't at some level it is a nature thing that breed it is natural to be jealous. It is a survival instinct, more or
Mm-hmm.
less. You know, you don't see you don't see animals. Okay, here we go. All right. So you don't see animals without ethics who engage in the sort of behavior that animals with ethics do. I believe, and it's possible that this has been disproven, but humans certainly have ethics, or at least can grok morality, and I'm sure a couple higher order apes can as well. Um, what that had to have come from somewhere, right? Because you see animals without ethics who are not as, I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this. There's a popular saying, you only look in your neighbor's bowl to make sure that they have enough. You don't see animals without ethics doing that, right?
Yeah.
It is a fierce competition. It is driven by a survival instinct that might be construed as jealousy. However, animals with ethics can potentially do that. Whether they choose to do it or not is,
Mm-hmm.
the entire underpinning of morality. But the jealousy must be at some level ingrained in nature. I forget where I was going with this. I got so excited about the line of delineation here, but is this is jealousy in a way that is like really bad, that must be learned, right? That must be learned.
Oh yeah.
Or so, and therefore it can be unlearned. You cannot unlearn all of it then, if we're going with this admittedly not very well researched opinion here. If we take it as truth, then you can't get rid of all jealousy,
Yes.
no matter what the Buddhist monks tell you. So
Yeah. Because I think to a degree in culture it's incentivized to be jealous, whether that's from marketing teams wanting you to pay for a product because, you know, these people have it and they're happy, and you don't have it and you're not happy. So, but at the same time, there's a jealousy that I've recently experienced at work when I found out someone with a less senior title than me made more than I did.
isn't that just the worst?
I was like, huh, I didn't know they could do that. And I know it's not malicious. I know my company didn't deliberately say, yes, we're not going to pay you as much as this person does. But at the same time, I'm still like, but how do I get more? And so without the situation, I never would have asked for more money. I would have just taken whatever was given to me. And I think,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the difference between healthy jealousy and not healthy jealousy is. Like what is it called? Is it just ambition when you just want something for yourself regardless of what other people have?
Ooh, maybe. Okay, ambition is. It's. I guess maybe it's jealousy for non-material goods. Or
Mm.
yeah, because yeah, I would definitely, now that you've said it, yeah, 100% ambition is a subset of jealousy. What is the difference between ambition and jealousy? Ambition. Hey Google, what's the definition of ambition?
Or educational
Ambition
content
is
now.
used as a noun to mean a strong desire to do or to achieve something, typically requiring determination and hard work, similarly to aspiration and intention. Do you want to hear ambition used in an example?
No, thank you. Okay, that didn't really clear it up.
Aspiration, I think, is the key.
Oh,
Aspiration, I
okay.
think, is the good version. The quote-unquote morally acceptable version.
Aspiration versus I want it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. I'll yeah, I'll take that. Yeah, that's and all, going back to a point that now has just processed through my mind. You mentioned marketing and social media because that's ultimately what this podcast is about, unintentionally, because we keep talking about it in reality TV
I don't know
shows,
how
which
it
also
keeps
in a
coming
way is
back.
jealousy. It seemed, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like that is beyond a shadow of a doubt. Correct me if I'm wrong, but here's the most powerful statement I'm going to make. It is the only thing that marketing has. It's the only thing that it can do. They say sex sells, but what is sex really?
Ooh.
Right? It is also a subclass of jealousy.
Yeah.
It must be.
Yeah. Ooh, no, because this is cool. Because it's like you have like the knowledge is power, money is power, sex is power. It's like, no, all of those are just aspiration. All of those are pulling from what we want.
Mm-hmm.
And it just happens. They think we all want sex. But we don't. We want a 4-bedroom house somewhere in Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's but it all serves to feed your jealousy, like beyond aspiration though, and that's kind of the point.
Mm-hmm.
You can aspire to own an iPhone one day, but is
Yeah.
that really why people buy iPhones?
No, they want it to make cool videos. They want it for better pictures.
Right. They want it because, and I mean, Apple is really good at this. They've made it a status icon.
Oh yeah.
Right. It's I'll be honest. Every year they come out with an iPhone, it gets sexier and sexier. They're good looking phones. They're really good looking phones.
Oh yeah.
I get it, right? Look at that iPhone 14 Pro Max. Is that what they're called? Pro Maxes now? Yeah. Look at that
I
iPhone
think,
14
yeah.
Pro Max. Woo, that was a $1,300 phone probably. And
Oh
what if-
yeah. Yeah, I remember that phone came out because it was more than my rent at the time.
Yeah. That's
It was like
that's insane. But that is a status symbol. There used to be an app on the Android market. Back when it was called the Android market. I don't even know if it still exists anymore. It did nothing. What it was is it was a status symbol. The most you could charge for an app at the time, and this might still be true, was $200. And this app was $200, and all it was a status symbol. It did nothing, right? It was just you paid $200 and you got, it was like, I think it was like a diamond icon. And you opened it and it's just like, this user paid $200 for this app. It did nothing, but it was a status symbol, kind of like iPhones, because they do nothing. You got burned, but it's fascinating that. And this is I'm blowing my own mind here. I wish I were that flexible, but this is probably known. This has probably been known forever. I mean, obviously people know it because they've been using marketing like this, but if you can create a status symbol, the jealousy generates itself. You don't really need to do any marketing. I don't watch TV. I haven't seen an Apple ad. The only time I see an Apple advertisement is when I'm in the subway at the stop that is right underneath an Apple store. That's really the only time I really ever see Apple. Every other time is I see other people with iPhones. I see other people with, the whatever, right?
yeah.
and I realize it's not just them, but they're just a very convenient example because they have a commodity that most of the world has, which is also crazy to think about. How many iPhones are in circulation and like active use?
I don't know, as many as those 8-year-olds can build, I guess.
They're pretty quick with those little nimble fingers.
Yeah.
And those suicide nets, they just bounce right back in. But but it's remember when Apple tried to make a computer in the USA? I don't think they're doing that anymore. The garbage can Mac was made in the USA. I think it was made in Arizona and New Mexico.
Oh.
Yeah. It's a cool looking computer, but it was not good. It was very bad to like plug things in the back and use. Mm-hmm. They were so horny over their your unified thermal core, which only kind of worked sometimes.
Yeah. I also think that like this kind of aspirational jealousy and like the fear of not being included is more effective the closer you get to the standard you think exists. Because I ran into this more so in high school than now, but I still run into it now. I never thought I could like buy the clothes that were trendy because they didn't fit me. So I was like, who cares? We've boxed that out. We're not doing that anymore. But when I was out of college the first year, I felt like I was getting closer and closer to the body that could like fit the trend. So I was like, okay, we're close. I can start looking at what other people are buying. I can quit cutting my hair because all of the people online have longer hair. And I've slowly moved back out of that, and I've picked up other issues along the way, but I don't feel as much pressure to buy aspirational clothing and fit in with like aesthetic trends. Because I'm like, it's not for me. And so I think the closer you get, the more tantalizing it becomes, which is why the most dangerous places to be are like third and fourth in a race that is on the third lap. If you're in sixth and seventh, it's like, whatever, we'll finish and it'll be fine. But third and fourth, there's a chance.
That is interesting, because I feel like the majority of people in the developed world can either afford an iPhone or almost afford an iPhone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah. Making it just within reach, because this is, I'm sure, and this is all stuff that people are probably talking about in Marketing 101. This is all probably just elementary stuff, but it's just because I know I never stopped to peel back the fabric of this, right? Like, I know that marketing is manipulative, but I never really stopped to think how. And I never really care enough to research it, because I think, and you might echo this sentiment because you're a fairly smart individual, fairly smart, you're smarter than me, but you feel because you are aware of the manipulation and the whatever they're doing over there, tracking you, whatever they're doing, right, to build this model of you and selling to you specifically, and also just maybe just potentially just watching TV and seeing the commercials and how they're built, and you can almost kind of perceive them on a meta level. You're aware of what they're trying to do, and so you think it's not working because you can dissect it in your brain. You think it's not working. You think you're above it. Do you feel that? Do you feel that because you are kind of in on the joke of marketing, it feels like it's not affecting you? Like, you see an ad that Amazon has targeted you. Obviously, it's showing you a puzzle because you were just on Amazon looking for puzzles. You're like, yeah, duh, of course it's going to show me puzzles.
Yeah. Right?
That's not going to work, Amazon. Haha, nice try. Right? Is that like... Do you
yeah. Yeah, no, especially if it's for products I don't care about.
Okay.
Like, I get ads for the Google Pixel all the time. Every YouTube video before I watch it, it tells me about the Google Pixel flip phone, and it tries to sell me that. And I'm like, whatever. I know I'm in the demographic for that because I'm a young person who works in tech, and I probably take photos and videos. They know that about me. They want to sell that to me. I'm like, whatever. Um, the ones that I dislike are when I have paid for the product at one point and they're trying to sell it to me again.
Mm.
And I'm like, I know I'm in your demographic. I've paid for your product. I quit using your product. Stop.
Yeah.
What annoys me is where I see an ad and I can feel it working. That annoys me more.
Mm.
Like I am a sucker for new book releases. Every time I see those advertised, I can feel it working and I'm like, this is gonna be a 6 out of 10. But I wanna read it.
I want to read it.
Or makeup. I don't even wear makeup that often. But I'm ooh so swayed by makeup packaging.
Interesting.
And I'm like, I want it. I don't need it. I don't need to spend $60 on a palette that I'm gonna use once or twice a week at most. But like it's limited edition. What if I don't get it?
There you go. There you go. It's that sense of urgency. Can we tie sense of urgency? Because that's another huge thing. Can we tie that back to jealousy? Is that preemptive jealousy, wherein you're going to be jealous of the people that have it?
Yeah.
Okay.
The people who figure out how to be on the in club ahead of time.
Yeah. Yeah. That checks out. Makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. That feeling of yeah. Of course, making an exclusive club is going to raise jealousy, or or at least force people to attempt to avoid feelings of jealousy, because no one, and I feel like this is basic human psychology, because I have so many degrees in that, but it's I feel like it's human, really every organism tries to do everything it can to avoid negative stimulation.
Yes. Yeah.
I was going to say stimulation, and then I was going to say stimuli, and then I said both of them at once, and they were both wrong. Stimuli.
Stimulation.
It's so if you're trying to avoid jealousy, that's also a form of jealousy. Oh God.
We're above everything.
But it works.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's so good. They know. And it's also, and I feel like there's a lot of effort in just like the nature of hashtag society around us right now, right? Like there's so much jealousy that's being cultivated, right?
Yeah.
Like, and this is, oh God, is this true of everything ever?
Probably.
It's true in marketing.
Mm-hmm.
It's true in politics.
It was true
It's
of
true in
wedding planning.
Okay.
Where it's like not necessarily like it's like reverse jealousy, where you don't see a wedding that is aspirational, you want yours to be the aspirational one.
Mm.
And that's how they get you to pay money. It's like, don't you want all of your friends to love what they experience? Don't you want them to just gush about this thing you need to pay $4,000 for?
Don't you want the latest iPhone so your friends can look up to you and be like, wow, they're so cool? It's a status icon. It's the same thing. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Everything is jealousy.
Mm-hmm.
That's disgusting. But I mean, I guess it's better than, I don't know, everything being murder. I don't know. God,
I mean,
murder's
yeah.
even rooted in jealousy most of the time. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can we
Lot
find
of
one
the
thing that's not rooted in jealousy? Is serial killing rooted in jealousy? Sometimes.
Not always. That one's usually rooted in lust or wrath. More so lust than wrath, because wrath is crime of passion. If we're
Well-
specifically sticking to the deadly ones.
Aren't crimes of passion also rooted in jealousy? Can you give an example of a crime of passion that isn't? Passion is usually drawn from coveting, which is just a longer, more biblical term for jealousy. So,
I mean, yeah, I'd have to dissect the crimes committed by. Ooh, well, I don't know of like crimes of passion off the top of my head.
Okay.
I can recall.
But like, can you think of like a scenario? It doesn't have to be a specific example, but like a scenario.
Oh,
Because
road
when
rage.
road rage, okay.
Yeah, that's not necessarily rooted in jealousy.
So if you kill someone in road rage, you get out of the car, you walk over, and you blow their head off. I guess no, that's not rooted in jealousy.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, good. There's one thing. Oh, a counterexample.
Finally,
Thank
road
God.
rage is good for something.
Yes. Well, I mean, when I get behind the wheel of a car, I develop Tourette's. I'm cursing everyone. I just hate everyone on the road because they're all stupid drivers. Now, I'm not a good driver myself. Before I get out of the city, I white knuckle it. But I'm a highway driver. But it's road rage. That's a fun one. That's a fun one. But it's not rooted in jealousy, so it's okay. We're good. We're safe. I don't feel bad about being unhappy with everyone always in the car. That's good. But yeah, is there something that? What else? I mean, is everything that's let's make it a little more specific so we can feel bad about the world. Is marketing the only thing that's used for jealousy, or is jealousy the only thing used in marketing? Deep down,
I don't think jealousy is the only thing used in marketing.
All right, well, let's find a counterexample then.
Sure. So like a lot of those niche pop-ups, specifically surrounding food.
Like
An
food
interpretation of gluttony that I have come to really appreciate is not necessarily the excess, but the waste, where food is not meant to be consumed for nourishment, but consumed for art, and sometimes not even consumed, just like constructed and thrown away. And so I think of all of the TikToks where you create this concoction that is inedible. It is just meant to be looked at. And it's not even something that people would want to have. It's just like, here is a thing we wasted $250 worth of food on just for you to pay attention to it for 15 seconds, if that.
Interesting. There was a guy recently, and by recently I mean in the last 10 years, that he just got absolutely roasted. I think he did, I don't know, he filled a bathtub full of like Cinnamon Toast Crunch or something for an Instagram post.
Oh.
Wow. Who was this guy? Because he was, and this wasn't the first time he had done this either. He was, let's see. He also did a lot of things with balloons, and people didn't like how wasteful he was with balloons.
Balloons get tricky. The balloons are a weird gateway.
How do you mean?
Oh, just the content you can find if you start going down path of balloons.
Let's see it. Okay, this can't be it. He's literally zero waste guy on Instagram. There's no way that can't be him.
I sat in this big tub of Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and then I ate it.
If I add the word tub, I don't know what he put in the tub, but it had to have been. TikTokers are wasting food for views. You know what? That's better. We can shit on TikTok. That's fine. Yeah. I don't need the noise. It's okay.
That will always be morally acceptable.
I certainly hope so. Okay. Just show me something that they're doing. I don't want your commentary, dude. Whoa. Oh, okay. He's just... Okay, that was... Okay, so that meme was how girls on TikTok make coffee, and he was just dumping things in a cup and just overflowing everywhere.
Oh, yeah. I think I've seen that guy where it floods the counters.
Yep. I mean, this guy has Interesting. Okay, it might just be one guy. That seems like it's worth looking into later. But yeah, no, it's that's okay. So okay, here we go.
Ooh.
Would you say Would you say that the iPhone 14 Pro Max with a terabyte of memory, would you say that that is gluttonous based on your definition?
That is a good question.
Because
I think the fact that it can be used would lead me towards no, but at the same time, what is the baseline functionality of a phone that people need? And because we don't have a definition of what people need when it comes to a cellular device, there's not a convenient upper limit to what is excess on an electronic device. That being said, if your fridge connects to the Wi-Fi, that's excess.
Okay. It's a status symbol, all right. I don't think you'll like the status it symbolizes.
Yeah.
I don't trust people with Wi-Fi fridges, but I know in like 20 years it's the only kind of fridge you'll be able to buy. So, fine, but like I don't. What's the point of having a smart fridge?
Yeah.
What is it going to say? I'm cold. Obviously, your fridge.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's I don't get that. I'd rather just. I mean, if. Yeah, I don't understand that one. That one's weird. Okay, so that's interesting that there's no upper bound on considering the gluttony of devices because it presents some use to it.
Yeah. I think that's one where there's like gray areas. Like, are private jets gluttonous? Maybe. I don't know. But they're used.
Okay.
But does one need a private jet? I don't know.
No one needs a private jet. There was, and there might still be, and this whole genre of thing might have phased out. Do you remember tech racks?
Oh, what were tech racks?
Tech racks was a tech destruction channel. They would.
Oh yeah, where they would buy like the newest thing and just destroy it.
Yep. Now that obviously yields jealousy. Let's see. Are they still tech?
Oh, they've got to be. There's the new iPhone 14 Pro Baymax. They've got to still be a thing.
2 weeks ago, dropping a stack of 7 iPhone 14 Pros down crazy spiral staircase 300 feet. Let's see. Some of these are like, kind of.
Yeah, no, that to me is technological gluttony, where it's like you bought it just to destroy it.
Yeah. And
completely removed any further use of it.
So would you say that begets jealousy? I mean, because if you read the comments, you see people are like, oh, someone could have used that, blah, 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 right?
Right, which is the given anyone is going to say.
Disguised jealousy. But, it's, yeah.
It is gluttony on their behalf and jealousy on ours.
Yes. Okay. I'll take that. That's. But the one has to come before the other, and so I think it would be safe to say that, quite possibly, a lot of examples of gluttony are will beget jealousy in one way or another.
Yeah, because we think of it as like overconsumption, but yeah, I do think it is the consumption just for waste.
Well, we've already established not everything is jealousy, so that's good. We've at least skirted around that. If we actually found the meaning to life, universe, and everything, I feel like we would start the Matrix would start dissolving around us, and it would be like a game over. You won screen.
Yeah, we can't. I mean, we can't be the one podcast that figures this all out. I mean, that's not fair to the dozens that have come before us.
Oh yeah, dozens. Yeah, just a handful of podcasts.
There's only like 12 podcasts. I don't know.
Is that all? Oh, is that all? Oh, okay. Oh, we're breaking new ground then, maybe. Well,
it's gonna be really easy to break it to the top 10 at this point.
Yeah. No, it's Yeah, it's hard to avoid.
Oh, extremely.
Because it's to some degree hard coded, right? But it's
Oh, yeah.
being, yeah, it's being misused.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, I don't know how else you'd sell something. Like, I've been thinking this whole time, how else would you sell something? How else would you motivate someone to buy something beyond, oh, I need to buy such and such from the store. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
You need to create a want. Want comes from jealousy. Jealousy comes from jealousy.
Yes.
Right.
Or cancer. You can sell a lot when someone has cancer. Really only like chemotherapy, but...
Oh, what?
I was trying to think of other ways to create, like, demand, and I'm like, well...
Okay,
if I sell chemotherapy drugs...
So,
cancer.
okay, I guess the medical industry, the pharmaceutical industry is maybe not beholden to the rule of jealousy in terms of marketing, except for the
Right.
ones that do market. Right?
Oh, yeah. Have you
Aren't you
gotten
jealous of this
Tysabri?
guy?
Yeah.
He
Because
has an erection.
Yeah, I am. Because I haven't gotten erect in my 25 years of life.
Wow, you should get that checked out.
I know. But, like, sometimes I get ads for drugs and I don't even know what they're for. I've gotten Tysabri ads dozens of times, and I'm like,
How's
you just
that?
say the Tysabri community makes me feel seen. You haven't told me what condition you have that necessitates Tysabri, what Tysabri does to help. The most I have to go on is the swan that, like, forms whenever you swing your hands. So maybe it's a swan princess situation and you want to quit turning into a swan at night. But I don't know. The ad doesn't tell me. It just says to ask my doctor about it, which, bold of them to assume I have a doctor. I haven't had a doctor in, like, 7 years.
It can treat Crohn's disease and multiple sclerosis.
That would have been cool to know. Not that I have Crohn's or MS, but the ad wouldn't have told me that was what it was for.
It's I don't know. Even the TV ads do better than that. They at least vaguely mention what it's for. Right?
Yeah. Any other ad is like, I have Crohn's. Thank God for this medication. Well, thank the Purdue Pharma, I guess, for this, but...
Yeah.
But, like... that's such an American medication ad where it's like, the Tysabri community makes me feel seen. I'm like,
Who?
who? For what?
Okay, well here, so if you need to advertise your drug, that means that you can likely live without it to some degree of quality.
To a degree, yeah.
Or that means there's competition.
Mm-hmm.
You, as a pharmaceutical company, need to cultivate jealousy between you, who's taking nothing or a piece of crap generic, compared to the life you could be leaving on to Sabri. Right? Like, I mean, how many commercials do you see for chemotherapy?
None.
Right.
But
There's
I also
no-
don't
there's
have
no
cancer,
jealousy.
so I'm not in the demographic that needs to be advertised.
You're not going to see that. You're not going to see that. You're going to see advertisements for hospitals that are in competition. I don't think there's any competition, at least not any meaningful competition, in chemotherapy drugs. There can't be, right? There's no way. And you're not going to go out and ask your doctor, "Ooh, I would like X chemotherapy drug over Y chemotherapy drug." Or you're going to go to your cancer doctor and be like, "Oh, I read about this very long and obscure drug name that has no market name." Chemotherapy is ridiculously complicated, but they don't. I'm pretty sure, and I could be wrong here, but I haven't seen a chemotherapy ad, and I also haven't seen a chemotherapy drug that has a market name, right? Like what's the full name of Tysabri? It's natalizumab.
I've never understood market name and full name. They're never the same thing.
Yeah. Sometimes they're similar, but not
Is there like
frequently.
a chemical compound we're getting these names from?
That's a good question because, okay, well, here, let's... Acetaminophen.
That's
That's Tylenol.
the actual drug, yeah.
Yes. And there are a couple other... So I think it's brand name. Tylenol is the brand name because there are a couple other brand names of acetaminophen. Acetaminophen, let's find the Wikipedia article because that'll tell me like the full name of it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, there's another name. It's called paracetamol, also known as acetaminophen.
Okay, acetaminophen. Right. Yeah.
It's also called. Okay. It's called N-acetyl para-aminophenol. That's, I guess, its molecular name. Or maybe they just named it. Like, tell me there's entomology section on here. Please, please, please. History?
That's
History.
So weird.
Oh, yeah, okay. I think it's just an amalgamation of a bunch of different things a bunch of different, like, chemical groups that it's a part of. Paracetamol is, right, like, N-acetyl para-aminophenol is, I guess, its full name, which, I mean, okay.
That's when you know it's in trouble.
Oh, wait, nope. It's N-4-hydroxylphenyl acetamide. That's another name for it. That's its IUPAC name. IUPAC name, sorry. Interesting. A lot of different names for it. You can probably only really canonically identify anything by its molecular structure. And even then, chiral symmetry, or what is it called? I think it's chiral symmetry. Like one direction of a drug will fix something, and one direction of a drug will kill you. Is it the left-handed version of the right-handed version?
I don't know, but they were all made at the same factory and then put in different bottles with different labels.
Like, how do you even? Chemistry is hard enough. Biochemistry.
It's so hard. Yeah.
How do they know how a cell works? Like, really? How do they know? How they can't watch a DNA be made? How do they know about like helicase? How do they know like proteins? They're so big. They're so big and windy. How do they simulate that?
The fact that we have any idea what it looks like. I'm like, dude, I'm glad we know because it means there's a lot of medicines that work now. But I'm like, do we really need to know?
Oh, screw medicine. Have you seen that guy making spider beer?
Yeah.
That's insane.
All that stuff is wild.
He was just able to do that. You can print genes.
Yeah.
That's neat. That's so cool.
It is really cool. Man, I could not work in a drug factory because, like, the intrusive thoughts of, like, just grab a big scoopful and put it, like, I don't even eat M&Ms that way. But the impulse to just grab and swallow a bunch of, like, there's a specific brand of acetaminophen. I don't remember. It just has a red cap. That's all I know. But, like, some acetaminophen has, like, a really sweet coating on it for no reason.
That's not good.
It's not, but it reminds me of like letter glue because sometimes letter glue tastes really good. And I don't know why, but every time I lick an envelope and it tastes bad, I'm disappointed because I know there's a good version of the envelope out there and it doesn't taste like this. It tastes a little bit what like I imagine paint would taste like.
Interesting.
Or what I would imagine. Well, no, not paint or varnish, but like glue. I understand why kids would eat it, even though there's better glue out there and it's all in the back of the envelope.
Yeah. Yeah. If they didn't want us to eat Tide Pods, they wouldn't make them look so damn tasty.
They
got the big kind of milky
Just a little bit
green,
of give when you
a little bit of and then the little bit of blue, and then the milky white. Oh, it's like it's gonna be sweet,
It's
a little bit of sour, and the
begging.
cream is just gonna
Yeah. It's
engulf you.
begging to just be pierced by an incisor, let it gush all through your mouth. Like, what a way to go. I think this is why cyanide pills didn't catch on outside of like spy organizations. They're no fun.
No, yeah. Yeah, I mean, really, you just need like 2 or 3 of those. Whatever it takes to wash your clothes can also, because soap is, I mean, especially concentrated soaps and detergents, they'll destroy you. That's the point.
Oh yeah.
They need to dissolve things. They'll dissolve you. Right? And the esophagus tries to not let it, but it's powerful. It's going to strip away everything. It's a surfactant.
Now that's a science word I didn't know.
Surfactant?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. It's a...
My science words are very limited.
I think that's whatever can break surface tension. It's a surfactant.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And then the soap comes in and dissolves your lipid membrane of all your cells because you're an animal, not a plant. So,
Oh my goodness! Like that's so terrible, but kind of funny at the same time.
yeah. It's always fun to think about how poisons actually work because it's always it's because like how the mechanism of action of poisons, like cyanide, I think, and I don't know if this is true. I read this a while ago. I think what happens with cyanide is what is it? It's carbon and nitrogen, and it's negatively charged, right? It's Cn minus. I think that's the cyanide ion.
Yeah.
Right. What happens? Usually you inform it in the form of hydrogen cyanide, and then it dissolves when it gets wet, and then it enters your cell. And I'm pretty sure because it's negative, or it does something, and it disrupts the electron the electron transport chain, and you can no longer make ATP. And I think that's how it kills you.
Oh.
And I also think it burns.
I would imagine.
I think maybe it burns because of the cell death, but I think that is the mechanism of action of cyanide. I don't fully remember, but that's it's yeah. Poisons are baddie stuff.
Oh yeah.
Doesn't it? Poison marketing is also rooted in jealousy.
I was about to say, and isn't jealousy the most potent poison of all?
Don't you want to kill with efficacy? Mice, squirrels, yourself. Don't you want just to be easy?
Well, the killing yourself with poison, that's just liquor commercials.
Got him.
Don't you want to
rooted
look
in
cool?
jealousy.
Yeah.
I do want to look cool. Oh, I just drink this and I look cool? No, I drink this and I don't look cool. That's... you know what they say, malt liquor doesn't make you young.
I did not know they said that.
Yeah, no, it's... Yeah, alcohol commercials are wild because of what they're trying to sell. Like...
Yeah.
They're trying to sell... the idealized image of
the cool, sophisticated, cosmopolitan, good with people.
Oh yes.
If I had like buku bucks to just spend on nothing, I would want to put together like a cigarette ad that looks indistinguishable from high-end perfume ads, because people would freak out if there were like ads for cigarettes. And just like people tamp down hard on cigarettes, and I'm not blaming them at all. I'm glad people don't smoke as much in public anymore. But I am genuinely curious how much cigarettes kill people, both users and people who suffer from like the secondhand smoke effects, versus like people who die from alcohol poisoning, cirrhosis, and drunk driving.
Ooh.
I'm sure that's something that the movie Thank You for Smoking would have gone into. But I don't know. And we had like vaping for a bit, but I think I saw more commercials for quit vaping than I ever saw for vaping.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I know there's a huge push right now. I see those ads online all the time. But I can't remember seeing maybe a couple e-cigarette ads, but like not many. Fascinating. They have an uphill battle, because how do you instill jealousy like that? Oh, do you want to live? No one wants to live. It's how do you instill jealousy in a marketing campaign like that? That's really hard, and that's probably why it sucks. That's probably why all those ad campaigns are absolutely atrocious and so bad. And you see right through them, because it's like, wow, you're not making me feel a damn thing.
Yeah, because I think they want it to be like, oh, we're doing facts-based, but I think what they also failed at is doing they're trying to do reverse jealousy, be like, oh, you don't want to be like people who vape.
Yes, I do.
Why?
Not like, I mean, obviously only like what they're showing in commercials, or whatever commercials they're trying to fight against. But like yes, I do. I want to look like that.
I'm sorry. Every winter since I had object permanence, I've loved to breathe out of my mouth when it's cold out, and I've wanted to do that in a controlled setting.
Yeah, incredible. Since object permanence. Yeah.
But like we watch anime, and in a lot of anime, like, it's still socially acceptable in Japan to smoke, and so a ton of characters smoke in that, and I'm like, they look so cool. But I know it's bad.
Oh, it's horrible. Yeah.
I hate the smell of it, and every time I'm outside and I see someone doing it, I have to fight the urge to not cough obnoxiously, because I'm sure they know. They have to know.
Yeah, at this point. That's fascinating, because anti-smoking ads have been so good. They did it.
Yeah.
They won. How though? And why is truth.org so bad at it?
I think cigarettes, it honestly may have been regulations.
Yeah, but I mean,
it may have been laws. I don't know.
But laws only come from people wanting the laws, and people wanting the laws only come from being told they want the laws.
My other guess is that smoking genuinely smells horrible.
It does.
And it's a lot easier to get support to get rid of something when it smells that bad. Vaping can smell like whatever, but smoking just smells bad. And as in favor as I am of like people not being thrown in prison for pot, that smells horrible too.
Oh yeah, no, it's horrible smell.
I hate the smell of pot.
Yeah, no way, no. Yeah, but that's have there been anti-pot campaigns that I'm just not aware of?
I mean, beyond like Reefer Madness and the DARE program?
Well, I know the DARE program was a joke, but like...
Yeah, I don't know. Not much beyond, things like Reefer Madness, which then eventually got turned into a joke in its own right.
Yeah.
I think it's less pot and just a campaign against the people who smoke it.
Yeah.
And that campaign was waged by the government.
Hey!
The crime bill.
Fun times. Thanks, Reagan.
Oh no, that was, Reagan,
Yeah. Ain't that just the way?
Usually.
Yeah.
It's, truth in advertising. And speaking of ads, we have one, and it's rooted in jealousy, baby.
Oh, it sure is. This episode of Steaming Pile is brought to you by the Google Pixel. Lauren, I'm talking to you. No, I'm kidding. Let me pull up the ad here. Let's see. It was sent to me in an email. Just give me a second.
yeah.
I'm using an iPad. It's just a flex. Don't worry. I'm not doing anything. Okay, here we go. Put my password. All right. No, I don't want to update right now. Okay, let's go Gmail. Here it is. This episode of Steaming Pile is brought to you by some guy named Mark Humphrey. And he wants his wife and kids to come home. He misses you, Cheryl. And he wants you to know that all the blood in the tub was an accident. I don't know the context for this, by the way, but he did pay us $500 to say this on air. And he wants you to know that there is no longer parts in the basement. I don't know what parts he's referring to, but if you're out there,
boilers. I don't know.
Maybe. But Cheryl, if you're out there, it sounds like he misses you a great deal, and it also sounds like it'd be in your best interest to either go back or enter witness protection. So thank you to you for hopefully you get your family back together. Definitely rooted in jealousy, something about that.
Yeah.
Well, always happy to help out.
Are we?
Sure, that's
Yeah.
Sign a contract, or we're indemnified from anything that may or may not happen to Cheryl and the kids.
We're not big into repeat advertisers, so it's not like we're risking any partnerships here.
Yeah.
Although we might be risking Mark and Cheryl's partnership. I don't know.
I don't know. One way to find out, Cheryl. Go check him out. Tell him he said.
Did he give like a callback number or an email?
No.
Or is okay?
No, it was something at protonmail.com. I don't think he has that email anymore. We were wired the money. It was all in Bitcoin, so can't trace that either.
No. Oh, it wasn't through FTX.
No, it wasn't. It was Coinbase. I had to really dig deep for that one. I forgot the names of the wallets.
Well, that's fine. We got our money. What happens between Mark and Cheryl is between Mark and Cheryl at this point.
Exactly. It was nice knowing you, Cheryl.
We did our part.
We sure did.
And, at the bottom of the steaming pile, it only makes sense that more jealousy would be there, because really that's at the bottom of the steaming pile in all of us.
It's at the bottom, at the top, in the middle. It's everywhere. It's everything except for road rage.
Yes. Road rage is independent, and we'll continue to support it as an independent fixture. But this has been another episode of Steaming Pile with Lauren and Tucker. I have been Lauren.
And I've been Tucker.
We will see you all next time.